Welcome to the Astro Psyche. Welcome to this monthly reading where we'll explore the astrology, we'll pull some tarot cards, and I am excited to just see what arises in the space for you. My name is Shawna McGrath. I'm a depth psychotherapist and an astrologer, and it's such an honor to be here with you. And I appreciate you being here with me. I know that this being March 3rd when I'm posting this, I'm a bit behind schedule. Um, I was visiting family this past week, and things did not go exactly as I planned them time-wise. And so here I am, here we are, excited to be here with you now. Um, Better here now than never. So, we are coming off of what feels like a very full month. February, January, but especially February, there was a lot that was happening, and we're still riding that wave, especially in the beginning of March. So, some of the core themes in March are that we're still immersed in Pisces season, Pisces territory, and there's a shift into Aries in a multiplicity of ways. We're also in the beginning of March firmly planted in eclipse season and Mercury retrograde and this long-term, very strong transit of Saturn conjunct Neptune. So we had our first eclipse, solar eclipse in February. We have our full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 3rd. And eclipses are this time where the light, the consciousness is temporarily blotted out. Now, when we have a full moon lunar eclipse, the light that's being blocked out is the moon's light. So it is the intuition, the subconscious, the feeling realm that is getting a temporarily blotting out and then revealing. So sometimes when we have a lunar eclipse, there can be this sense of going into the void, going into the darkness, going into the unconsciousness, and really being in it. This can sometimes feel like being immersed in a very strong emotional experience. And sometimes we don't even know what's happening. I think this can sometimes happen when we're in eclipse season. And I spoke about this a bit in a separate video podcast that I did called Eclipses and Psychological Complexes, where we feel sort of taken over, that this can happen sometimes during eclipse season. And, you know, the beauty of eclipse and eclipsing is that it is this temporary moment in time where things are obscured. And then eventually we know that the light consciousness will return. And I really feel that here. I feel that with this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo that is impacting us at the beginning of the month. So the eclipse is on March 3rd, and we're in it. Eclipses, they have this orb of influence over time that usually spans at least a week or two. And so it's intense, acute, more extreme on the day of and the days before and after the actual eclipse. And also there's this ripple impact forward and backward in time. And this being in Virgo with the South Node, there's an emphasis here on discernment, strategic healing, where we want to tap into possibly alternate ways of healing, alternate ways of finding a sense of order and symmetry and making sense of where we're at in life. These are all Virgo themes. And while the full moon is conjunct the south node, which is what makes an eclipse, south node being a symbol of spirituality, creativity, and also dissolving and letting things go. There quite possibly are things that um, are being revealed to you where it's like, oh, yeah, I want to dissolve this. I want to shed this. I want to release this. And sometimes we do that simply by experiencing it, simply by feeling it, naming it, talking it, dancing it, movementing it. Sometimes it is purely about having the experience and allowing whatever that psychic material is to have a space to exist and to be experienced in your life. And then that itself is the transmutation process. Now, sometimes there are other things that need to happen in order to fully feel a sense of closure or completion around this process. And that is where we get into the Mercury retrograde component of this because Mercury retrograde is tied into this eclipse season. Mercury retrograde is happening in Pisces, so it's happening on the axis of this eclipse, Virgo Pisces. And so throughout the majority of this month, and this started in February, there's this contemplation around mm, your uh, gosh, Pisces is so connected to our unconscious psychic structure and the way that we intuit, the way that we feel, the way that we have a sense of faith and trust and inner knowing. And the Mercury in Pisces is the inner dialogue that is going on constantly in the background that sometimes we're aware of and sometimes we're not aware of. Pisces is so connected to the other world, the other realm, the unseen. And there's so, gosh, there's just so much bounty and resources and assets that are available there when we have an experience of Mercury and Pisces. And also, that can feel really overwhelming sometimes because the psyche is vast, the unconscious is vast and infinite. And so, this is a bit of what we're working through with this Mercury retrograde in Pisces is our connection to the divine spirit, the unknown, the collective unconscious. And actually, this is so relevant now because there is, well, there's always a lot of big energy that's happening collectively in the world, and that is especially so now. And when there when there is a lot that's happening that feels like it's happening really fast, and there is danger, oppression, authoritarianism. It can be really terrifying um, when we're this one tiny individual person looking at the collective screen of what's happening. And we're always doing this. And also, when we have an experience of Pisces energy, whether that is something that is in your natal chart, your birth chart, or you're experiencing it via the transits that we're having at this time, where we have a lot of Pisces energy, a lot of planets in Pisces, all of us are experiencing this tapping into the collective themes even more so because Pisces is collective. Pisces is the collective energy, the collective unconscious, and the cultural soup that we are all swimming in. And it's so big and vast, it can overwhelm an individual psyche. And that's why um, Pisces can sometimes uh, indicate experiences where we get really overwhelmed and fearful, and there is a protective function that connects in around dissociating or going away or turning everything off so that it becomes more manageable to experience. And so, my sense is that possibly a component of the Mercury retrograde in Pisces is finding ways to uh, expand our threshold for holding space uh, around experiencing um, the vastness of collective experiences. And I think that we're getting a master class in that. We have been getting a master class in that for the last year, especially, and the last couple of years. And so there's this question that I have when I think about Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and we're um, moving through the initiation period of these eclipses, and that is this: how can you take care of yourself so that you can show up and see what is happening in the world, and so that you can show up and engage in whatever way is appropriate for you, so that you can engage in what is needed from you based on what is happening in the world. What do you need in order to feel within your own self as uh, safe and regulated in the moment as possible? And that's going to change moment to moment. To do you need to eat something? Do you need to shower? Do you need to sit? Do you need to stand? Do you need to move? Do you need to walk around while you're having a phone call? All of these things are really important because uh, Pisces is taking in so much energy. There's this constant filtering through, and this is why we have Virgo as uh, the polarity of Pisces, because Virgo can take a massive amount of information and data and steps and sort it into this beautiful synthesis where there is a symmetry and an intelligence to everything that is happening. And Pisces is constantly bringing that in. There's a constant bringing in of more and sifting through all of the words and thoughts and feelings and experiences, and even experiences that are not conscious, that are um, in our DNA, that are ancestral. Mercury stations direct on March 20th at 8 degrees of Pisces. And so we're really in that this contemplation, this review, this chewing on things mentally and emotionally. And so March, there is this quality to it around that. Now, we also have a full moon in Pisces this month that's happening March 18th or 19th, depending on where you are in the world. So, um, full moon, lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 3rd, new moon, plain new moon, no more eclipse in Pisces on March 18th or 19th. So, this month, we are still encountering this experience of Virgo Pisces in multiple layers. And Virgo Pisces has this theme of um, taking in all of the info and then figuring out what to do with it. And Virgo Pisces, there are also themes around healing, being of service, and finding ways to do what we can to make this human existence more tolerable, to decrease suffering, to help, to support in whatever way that we can. And so those are strong themes this month. And that might be something that you're working on at an inner level with yourself. It might be something that you are emphasizing in the way that you show up in your relationships. And it might be something that you're doing more externally in the world, in your community, in your activism, even. So uh, there is this, there's a lot of heart, I think, in Virgo and Pisces, and there's a lot of capacity for compassion and enthusiasm for uh, faith and service. And it's so important that we make sure that that is going in both directions, that you're being fed and that you're able to um, give that as well. And I do wonder for you too, maybe a component of this Mercury retrograde is finding a sense of what feels good for you at this point in time, as far as that reciprocal movement in and out, the um, being generous, being of service, and then also allowing yourself to receive support as well. Now, also, what's happening here this month, the Venus and the Sun are shifting signs. So, um, gosh, we actually have so many planets in Pisces right now. So, we have Mars, North Node, Sun, Mercury, and Venus all in Pisces. So that's a lot of Pisces energy. That's a lot of uh, ethereal, creative, spatial, feeling, intuitive, sometimes confusing kind of energy. And so we're still like really fully swimming in that. And that's why I have uh, talked so much about Pisces and Virgo, because it's really here. And over the course of this month, we're changing gears a bit, where there's going to be a shift into bringing in more of the Aries energy. And so this, we've already had a bit of this with Saturn conjunct Neptune um, in the sign of Aries. These planets have been in Aries for a little bit. Their conjunction exact was last month in February. And so they're already bringing that Aries energy here. And uh, what's going to happen this month in March as we move forward in time is that Venus is going to first move into Aries. So Venus is the first one in the Aries ring. And this means that Venus is going to be the first one in this chain of planets, this conga line of planets that's going to make a conjunction to Neptune and Saturn. And this is really important because Saturn and Neptune are here. They're still what I would consider in the peak of the conjunction over the next couple of months. So it's no longer exact, but because they move so incredibly slow, they're together for a very long period of time. So you might be asking, Shawna, well, remind me, what does Saturn conjunct Neptune even mean? So, in its essence, Saturn and Neptune are about questioning reality and questioning what is real, what is false, what is the nature of reality, where is a marker of what is true, where is a marker of what is real, what is practical. Um, Saturn conjunct Neptune is also this long-term phase that we've been in where things are dissolving. Neptune is coming in and having a dissolving and yeah, there's sort of this like Neptune can have a dissolving impact. It can also have a spiritualizing impact. And so when Neptune comes to Saturn, the structures that we have had in place for a very long time start to um, no longer be or appear to be as firm as they once were. And so this can, there's so much variety in the way that this could manifest. So it can be dissolving structures in a way that is life enhancing, but also that is maybe not life enhancing. And Neptune can also bring a spiritual, I'm going to say that in a different way. It can also bring a reminder of the spiritual, the other world, into the mundane world. And so um, there can be this emergence of spirituality or creativity in a new way. Um, Now, Saturn brings to Neptune this quality of containment, structure, order, and yeah, I'm just like getting this image of like you have water on the floor and you're trying to scoop it up. Um, and the container that you use is really going to depend on what state the water is at the moment. And so I'm laughing because it does make me wonder if it's maybe easier for Neptune to come to Saturn's realm than for Saturn to come to Neptune's realm. Not quite sure about that. Um, so at its essence, we have the practical and material world phenomena, the sense of containment that Saturn brings, encountering Neptune, which is the uncontainable and the unseen and the intangible. So there's such a dramatic contrast between these two. And I would imagine that at this point, there is at least some sense for you about what this transit, um, how this transit is showing up in your life, how you are experiencing that, whether that is personally or in your family system, in your community. Um, I think we can even see this happening in the world in a variety of different ways. And so I'm saying that because Saturn Neptune is here, it has been here, and also when we have these personal planets moving into a conjunction with Saturn Neptune, they both energize the transit and they add their personal flair to it. So there's additional, we could think of it as waves that are coming in, and there's a Venus wave, and then there will be a Sun wave, and then a Mercury wave, and then a Mars wave, etc. So Venus is first in line here. This first, maybe kind of second week of the month here, where Venus moves through Aries, and Venus brings an emphasis around relationships and relational dynamics, love, beauty, aesthetics. Sometimes Venus can even denote experiences of self-worth and self-value and that kind of thing. Now, not too long after that, but later in the month, the sun will move into Aries. So this happens March 20th. The sun moves into Aries. By the way, happy birthday to my Pisces and Aries people. So we can see here, if we're able to see on the screen, that the sun moves into this conjunction with Neptune, and Saturn. And the sun is a symbol of our ego, our identity, our vitality. More and more, I am learning that the sun is so connected to our our energy, our vitality, our physical stamina, and and also this part of us that says, this is who I am. That's the ego. The ego's function is helping us to have a cohesive sense of self. And so when we have the sun coming into contact with Neptune and Saturn, there can sometimes be questions around one's identity, one's sense of self, roles, and sometimes that can be experienced as even quite existential, like what is even the meaning of life? And so those are, I share that with you because those are maybe questions and experiences that may come up, especially towards the second half of the month. And I think that when we know that, it can be an illuminating process uh, to revisit what, yeah, what is the meaning of life? I mean, such a big question, but I think that just feels like there's some level of that questioning that you may be experiencing, especially towards the end of the month here, the last couple of weeks of March. The Sun and Venus are so connected to how we relate to one another and how we relate to ourselves. And um, they're never too far apart in the zodiac. And so the conjunctions that they make are often, can happen this way in the same month. And I think we can see this mirroring of the human experience where our sense of self, that individual, independent, autonomous feeling that we have, is really important within the context of relationships and vice versa. And they go together. And sometimes um, we not sometimes, maybe always. I'm not sure. Do I want to say always? Um, what I want to say here is we need both. We need to have a healthy connection to ourselves, self with the capital S, and then we also need other people as well. And oftentimes there's an interplay between that, where when we connect with others, we can actually have a sense of experience of ourselves. And sometimes when we connect more deeply with ourselves, that helps us to connect with other people. So that might be something that comes up through this month as well. Now, another component of what's happening through this month is that the Sun and Venus are also making a square to Jupiter in Cancer here. And I think this simply serves to expand the energy and create more of a sense of growth. And, Jupiter really wants us to go big, be grand, be exploratory, to look at different ways of thinking about things, to experience all that there is in life, to experience different people, different cultures, different ways of thinking. Jupiter is very connected in with um, diversity and multiple intersecting ways of experiencing the world, multiple intersecting identities. And so the Sun and Venus making a square to Jupiter, there's something here around expanding your growth process and the way that you're looking at things and looking at things from a different kind of vantage point. Now, that it's a square tells me that there's maybe a bit of a nudge there, a healthy nudge. When we have squares, there's usually something that is being asked of us in order to integrate the energies there. Now, also what's happening this month is that Venus is going to make a square to Pluto. And this is it's a bit of a brief transit, but uh it's got such an intensity to it that I wanted to mention it here. So, um I think we're really going to be feeling this just like in the last week of March, but again, it feels so striking that I wanted to mention it. So, Venus in the last week of March will conjunct Chiron, and then it's going to continue forward in this applying square to Pluto, and it'll move into Taurus, where we're going to get more of the Venus square Pluto a bit in April. Now, when we have Venus square Pluto, this is about um, revealing revealing hidden truths, core essences, and gosh, just like potential for deep healing relationally. Pluto is a symbol of going deep with something. Pluto is a symbol of Venus, Pluto is a symbol of emotional intimacy and having deep and intense bonding experiences. And as always, this may be with another human being. This might be something that you experience within yourself. And so, um, the way that I'm looking at this, especially following Venus's journey through the month from being in Pisces and then moving into Aries, which is so much more individual focused, so focused on your instincts and impulses and what your heart is telling you. And then all of this questioning around what is the meaning of things and what is real and what is not real and what is my identity. And I think going through that process, then at the end of the month, there's this potential for sort of this revealing of a deeper truth and wisdom that maybe has been buried inside of you. This is what Pluto offers to us. Mm. Yeah, and then the last thing that I'll share here around this is that Jupiter stations direct in April. Or no, sorry, in March. I don't know what I'm saying sometimes. So Jupiter stations direct March 10th at 15 degrees of Cancer. And I'm noting this because Jupiter has been retrograde for several months and it's backed up all the way to about the middle of the sign of Cancer. And starting in March, it's going to ever so slowly begin to move forward. And so this means it's going forward in Cancer through the sign and through that house that you have there, and through it'll aspect any planets that are in an aspect to the sign of Cancer. And so that you have in your natal chart. And so I'm thinking, okay, we're tracking this because Jupiter is a sign, a symbol of growth and optimism and expansion. Of course, it can also be distorted into dogmatic ways of thinking or um, even fundamentalism, things like this. Um, and typically, when Jupiter is moving through the chart, we experience, wherever that is, we experience the impact of um, support and opening and an expansive kind of quality. Now, of course, sometimes expansion can feel like, oh wow, this is a lot, but usually there's a quality of grace involved there. And so I really like to track that and to keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm shuffling my cards and we'll pull three cards for you today. If you're not already, I invite you to get into a comfortable place that feels settling for you, where you can, as best as you can, be comfortable and connect in with yourself. I invite you to close your eyes or to focus on something in front of you. And you may wish to invite in your higher self, your spiritual guidance team, your healed, whole ancestors. And we ask for only helping, compassionate, loving spirits to be here with us. And whatever that looks like for you at this moment in time, we ask for guidance, messages, and insights that you can easily understand right now. And if there is an inquiry or a question, I invite you to hold that in your heart. You may wish to pick a number between 1 and 3, and that card will be special to you. Okay, so first card is the Two of Cups. And this card is both about relationships as well as healing. Um, and so, yeah, relationships, healing, things coming together, either relationally or intrapsychically. Um, the Two of Cups can sometimes be where there's a meeting, a union, or an integration process emotionally. Sometimes, especially if it's in the first position like this, it can be indicating that there is a general topic around health, around healing, or around relational themes in general. So I'll leave that up to you on where this feels like it falls there. Um, but yeah, there's something here that is like things are coming together here. There's a meeting, there's a union. Now, the second card that I pulled is the Ace of Swords reversed. I'm holding it up right here, but if it's reversed, it would be the pointy end would be down. So Ace of Swords is, aces are like seeds that um, are being germinated. And so the Ace of Swords says that there is a new idea, a new mindset, a new thought process, but that it's reversed. It's like, it might be ungerminated as of yet. It might still be coming into being. There might be a little bit of confusion on what this new idea is. I really like the aces because I think there's so much potential there. There's so much to come, and we get to really feel into and envision what that might be. Now, the third card is the Chariot card, and I pulled this reversed. And the Chariot is a symbol of moving forward with skill and precision and a clear goal in mind. The Chariot is, if anything, it's about finally moving forward. You've packed, you've gotten all the things, and you're like, okay, we're going, we're doing it, it's happening. And sometimes when this comes up reversed, it can be a reminder to check your um, to check the map, to check the path forward. What are the steps involved? Have you planned in a way that is that is like fully satiating? Also, sometimes when I get this reversed, it's a symbol that um, maybe it's not quite time yet to move forward completely. I'm not quite sure for you. Like there might be a little like prep work that needs to be done here. Now more psychologically, when I get the chariot reversed, um, yeah, maybe the the action that's happening is more contemplative. Maybe it's more inner work, inner journey. Um, when I'm looking at all of these together, yeah, it's very interesting because there's definitely something that's happening here with the Two of Cups. There is a coming together, a cohesion, a meeting, there's a union, and I find this just such a heartening card when we're talking about anything. And it just it feels very hmm, yeah, it feels very warm and encouraging to me. And I really like too that it has this inherent connection to healing as well. And with the Ace of Swords, it's like, okay, there's something that's coming out of this connection. There's some new idea or way of thinking, or um, there's some new inspiration that's happening here, but we don't know what it is. It's unclear because the card is reversed. It's unclear. Maybe it's internal, maybe it's a bit more subtle. And then there is some action that arises via this idea. But because we don't know what the new idea or belief is just quite yet, the action forward is not clear. We don't quite have a sense for it yet, but we know that it's there, it's coming. And so the Two of Cups sort of feels like where it's at right now, where the focus of the energy is like, okay, what is the connection here? What is the healing that's wanting to happen for you? Um, and yeah, that's all that we can do sometimes is just be in the now and be in what is. Such a pleasure to do this monthly reading for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. Again, I apologize that it's late. I hope that you still like it. And I am sending you wishes for safety and comfort and ease and self-regulation, co-regulation, all of the things, and whatever else you need this month. I'll see you soon. Bye.